Hi guys, and welcome to my booktube channel. I'm Julie, or if you know me from Author Confession, my name is J.M. Sullivan, and I am the host of Author Confession on Twitter, the author of Alice, the Wonderland Chronicles, and now the host of this booktube channel. So welcome, I'm glad you stopped by today. You are here for my second booktube video, and I am going to start today with a series of top fives. And so I've got a bunch of top fives that I'm going to be doing throughout the next couple of weeks, probably months. But for today, I'm going to start with my top five book to movie fails. So I don't know about you, but obviously, if you're on BookTube, you are a book lover, and if you're a writer, you're probably a book lover too. And if you're anything like me, you probably get so excited when you hear about your favorite book being turned into a movie. But if you're anything like me, you may also get a little bit like, oh my gosh, they're turning my favorite book into a movie, because you just know that there are some bad remakes out there. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the ones that I think are probably the worst, that they should have just left well enough alone. I may step on some toes here today, but this is what I'm doing, my top five. So top five worst movie remakes. For the very first one, I am actually starting with a kid's book. And that is Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. I was so upset when they put this book, they turned this book into a movie, because I just remember growing up on Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, and it was one of my favorites, and I had it read to me hundreds of times, and I went and saw it, and I was like, what did you do to my book? Because really the only thing that they kept the same was the fact that food fell out of the sky. They added this completely other story, and they just completely changed, they changed my book, and I was not happy with it. And I understand why they did it, because it's not a very long book, and to make it into a full-length feature film, they probably had to add some more stuff to it. But maybe if you have to completely change a book to make it a movie, you just don't. Number four is Miss Peregrine's Home for Extraordinary Children. I included this one because while actually the movie itself wasn't terrible, and if I had never read the book, I probably would have enjoyed it, but I did read the book, and I really didn't appreciate how they completely changed it. Here's some spoilers, so if you haven't seen or read the book, cover your ears. But first, they didn't keep the powers the same. Like Emma, her power isn't even the same, and she's one of the main characters. Like, how do you do that? I don't understand. So I didn't appreciate that. And then at the end, that is not what happens in the book. And sometimes I understand with the movies, they kind of clump in the sequels and the series, but you shouldn't do that either. If you're going to be making a movie about a book, it needs to be about the book, that book, only that book. So if anybody I have thoughts. Number three, and I'm sure I have probably some supporters with this, and then probably some people who are like, well, why do you even care? But, and that is Twilight. I will admit I was on the Twilight bandwagon, although I will maintain that I read Twilight before it got super popular, and I liked it then. But I enjoyed Twilight the first time I read it, and I enjoyed reading the series. I did not enjoy the movie. The first movie was absolutely terrible, but it was really going to be kind of hard anyway, because so much of the movie takes place in Bella's head anyway, and she's thinking about how much she loves Edward, and it's going to be hard to translate, and so you're going to end up with what we ended up with, which was terrible montage scenes of them looking at each other or trees, and just bad. Number two, we are getting down to the nitty-gritty of things. And number two is going to be Divergent. Ugh. Again, I liked Divergent when I read them. I read the books, I enjoyed them. I thought that they told a good story. While I wasn't always the biggest fan of some of the characters, it was a good story. It was a good escape. It was a good fantasy. Then comes along Hollywood. Again, if you're going to remake a story, you're going to make a video of a book, it needs to be about the book. what, at the end, what are you doing with your life? Because that was not Divergent. You had the same character names, you had the fact that they were special, and you had kind of the idea, but then you ruined it. Like, you ruined it. And that's all I'm going to say about that one, because I'm already getting upset. And I know that when I go on to number one, I'm just going to I'm probably going to start ranting a little bit, because guys, number one is Ella Enchanted. And if you watched my first video, my YouTube video, and you're back, thanks for coming back, or if you've talked to me on Twitter, or really spoken to me about books at all in any way, shape, or form, you know how much I love Ella Enchanted and how important that book is to me. So what they did to this book, I still get angry when I think about it. And I remember, this was kind of before I had learned my lesson about books to movies and not always being great. And so I was super, super excited. I was like, oh my gosh, they're going to be making Ella Enchanted into a movie. This is going to be phenomenal. It's going to be so great, because the story itself is just so good. How can you make the movie bad? You can't, because the story is just that good. They did it. They did it. They ruined it. Because here's what happened. I will tell you. I want to talk to you about Ella Enchanted. Ella Enchanted is a wonderful, wonderful book. If you haven't read it, you just have to read it. It's so good. But it's about this girl, and she has this gift where she has to do whatever she is told to do. And so the book is about her overcoming this, but she lives in this magical world of Frel, and there's goblins and gnomes and ogres and trolls and giants, and just Gail Carson Levine does such a good job with this book. There's no reason that anything should have needed to be added, maybe condensed a little, because it's a full-length book, obviously, and you have to fit into an hour and a half. But here's what they did to my book. They added in characters that were not even in the book, like King Edgar. Who the hell is King Edgar? And his snake, the snake thing that talks, they added in these characters, and by adding in these characters, they had to take out amazing stuff. So there were parts that were really, really important to the story that didn't even make it, because they had to cut it in to make Edgar make sense. So I'm going to stop there, because I really don't want to come on and be a super complainer, but we're talking about top 5 book to movie fails, so obviously there's going to be a little bit of negativity there, and we're talking about books, so there might be a little bit of feelings hurt, but this is my thoughts in a nutshell. Books can be made to movies. They can be made into movies well, but if you're going to be remaking a book into a movie, it's probably being done because the book has a really good following and people really enjoyed the book. So don't screw it up. You've got these people that are looking up to you. Don't mess it up. You're butchering books, guys. You are butchering books, and it's not okay. Anyway, on that note, I am going to let you go before I get into ranting territory, but I would like to know what your thoughts are. What do you think of my list? Do you agree? Or do you think that maybe there were some other books that I should have included that maybe I didn't? I want to know, what are your thoughts on book-to-movie remakes? We will talk more about it later, I'm sure. If you enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to like, subscribe, or comment below. I would love to connect with you and see what your thoughts are. If you would like to keep the conversation going further, you can always find me on Twitter at _JM_Sullivan. I hope you have a wonderful day, and as always, happy reading.